All right. Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining. My name is Dave Cabellis. I'm a product manager at Oracle. I manage Oracle Verrazzano Enterprise Container Platform. Today, I'm going to try to do a 1.1 update, Verrazzano 1.1 in 5 minutes or less. So let's see how quickly I can do that. So quick reminder, if you're new to Verrazzano, there were a number of challenges that kind of drove us to building Verrazzano, including things like continued container adoption, especially for things like existing applications. Multi-cloud has become a reality, which increases challenges, especially for those day two operations. Kubernetes is great, but there's just so much more that's needed to make it a true platform. And that brought us to building Verrazzano, which is a complete, opinionated, secure container platform. It is a curated stack in the sense of, we take all of these components, and some of these are components from Oracle-led projects, some are from community-led projects. We scan for vulnerabilities, built from source, so that you can actually have confidence in the containers that we deploy as part of Verrazzano. And it is meant to be a true platform, right? So we curate it in the sense that we make sure all these things work well together. We make sure all the versions are supported properly. It is meant to be very smooth. It's not just a bundle of bits, right? It is great for your traditional applications, great for Java microservices, great for non-Java microservices, easy to move WebLogic to containers and then to this platform. And it is multi-cloud, right? It is spread across Kubernetes clusters. Those clusters can be on premises, can be in Oracle Cloud, can be on other cloud platforms. So generally, cloud neutral. Verrazzano is sold as a subscription. It's also included in WebLogic Suite. So if you have a WebLogic Suite license, you have access to this already. And of course, Verrazzano is built in open source, so you can access it anytime. Verrazzano is named after the Verrazzano Bridge in New York City, which connects Brooklyn to Staten Island. It's a pretty impressive bridge, and I'm kind of glad my product is named after something so impressive. We do think of it as the metaphor of a bridge between worlds or a bridge to the cloud. So our 1.1 release just came out, and it's part of our planned set of releases, right? So Verrazzano is built in open source. And so it's built as a very agile project. The intent is to have updates every quarter. Those updates would include, new features, possibly new components, updates to existing components, and updates to Kubernetes version support. Here's an updated sort of reality timeline. So our 1.1 was a little bit delayed. And then, 1.2 and 1.3 are currently in the works. Right, so 1.2 is, we're actually working on this, like building 1.2, and then 1.3 is more of a planning phase at the moment. By the way, all of this is outlined in My Oracle support. You can take a look at this document if you have access to My Oracle support. From a roadmap perspective, again, we're working on these near-term releases, and then we've got some things on the horizon. We've tackled a bunch of this in our 1.1, which I'll talk about in more detail. On the horizon is more, advanced deployment scenarios, more advancements in the multi-cluster management aspects. We're actually adding Verrazzano as an option in, the WebLogic Suite for OKE marketplace offering on Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. And then we're working on a Verrazzano marketplace offering, a dedicated marketplace offering for Verrazzano. Double clicking in a little bit here, the 1.1 just came out. We've really simplified app deployment for multi-cluster. We added the Kiali component. We updated some existing components and our Kubernetes support, and we've added some customizations here. 1.2 you can see is in the works right now. So trying to keep this quick. So this is really the feature set for Verrazzano. So what's kind of cool, we added Kiali. Kiali is the user interface for Istio, and it's available. You can access it right from the Verrazzano console. When you install Verrazzano, of course, we also tell you the URLs for all the different telemetry UIs, right? So it's available that way as well, but it's kind of handy here from the Verrazzano console. And this dashboard is really great, right? It can give you a graphical view of the traffic flows between your different components. It can show you the rates of the requests as they flow through. If something is sort of overloaded or seems problematic, it'll change color to yellow or red. You can click each of these flows and get more details as to what's happening. So it's really a great way to see kind of current status and to help you drill down and to figure out if there is something going wrong, what the root cause is. So pretty cool stuff. I'm going to demo this in my next video. We simplified multi-cluster application configuration. So in 1.0, if you wanted to have a multi-cluster application, as in I want to have multiple clusters in my Verrazzano environment, and I want to be able to put applications wherever I want to put them, then each application component and the application configuration itself needed to be wrapped in a multi-cluster specific component type. And in Verrazzano 1.1, really only the application configuration, right? So this is an open application model construct. Only that is wrapped as a multi-cluster thing, right? Everything else is just standard. All right, so it means everything is much simpler. It also means portability is much easier, right? So in the past, like everything needed to be placed. You had to define like, okay, this is app component 1, and this is going to be on cluster 5, and this is app component 2, and this is going to be on cluster 5, and then so all of that needed to be sort of managed. Now it's much simpler. Only one thing. Actually, you can, if you use projects, it's included in projects as well. But really, placement is much simpler. Fewer opportunities for human errors, and portability, of course, is enhanced with all this. So, I think we made great strides there. I'm really happy with that. We also made it easy to deploy really any sidecar into Verrazzano. We had a customer looking to provide their own configuration and their own container for FluentD. They had their own set of FluentD plugins. So we actually proved out how to do this for any sidecar, right? So it's basically you create a config map for the FluentD sidecar, which includes, where is the image that you're looking for. You create the volumes in the application component that FluentD needs, right, to access logs from the applications, sort of how they mount the pathway to get to the logs. And then you add that container to the application component, right? So pretty simple. This is actually documented in our documentation. So this makes it easy to do this, right? Like you can do this for FluentD. You can do it for really any particular sidecar you want to do. You would want to deploy with an application. And then with that, we actually took this need and enhanced our logging trait, right? So if you remember an open application model, traits are conditions that you apply to components as you deploy them into an environment. We have things like what do you call it? Ingress traits, metrics traits, logging traits. Oops, let me go back, sorry. So we've actually enhanced our logging trait to say, okay, if you want to give us a different image, we can use that. So that's optional. Otherwise, we use our image that we ship with Verrazzano. And then if you've got a different configuration, really, this is the key here, is this logging configuration. And then, so we'll actually deploy this into Verrazzano with an application. We'll provide it as a sidecar using our image, or we'll provide it as a sidecar using the image that you provide. So this is much simpler, right? So no config map configuration, no volume configuration, no pod spec needed. It's really just a couple of lines of YAML code. So pretty nice stuff. I'm happy with that. We're well beyond the 5 minutes, by the way, and I apologize for that. We're about 9.5 in, but just to finish this out, we did update some components in Verrazzano, including Istio, Prometheus, Grafana, Elasticsearch, Kibana, Keycloak, the WebLogic Kubernetes operator, the coherence operator, and then we added Kiali. And then for Kubernetes version support, In 1.1, we support Kubernetes 1.19, 1.20, and 1.21. So if you're using 1.18, you'll need to update your Kubernetes clusters before you update Verrazzano. In 1.2, we expect to kind of keep this moving, right? And the idea here is, Kubernetes itself continues to release. It's more on a 3 times a year release cycle now. And so our intent is to kind of keep up with that so we can make sure that, if there are vulnerabilities discovered, we'll be able to stick with, the latest, yet still enabling you to stay on a version of Kubernetes for a little while if you need to. Okay, some next steps, please go try it out, right? It's on GitHub. Lots of documentation to read. We've got some videos for you to take a look at. Join our Slack channel. I know this is a little bit, it's not terrible to type out, but we have a public Slack channel. Happy to have you join us there and ask questions. We provide updates there. And then a number of resources here, right? So, follow us on Twitter. We have a YouTube channel. Lots of stuff going on here. So thank you so much for listening and watching, and check my next video, which I'll actually demonstrate some of these features. Take care.